I'd like to welcome Spartan legend Gary Chapman to our Spartan Nation YouTube channel. Coach, how you doing?
Well, I like to shake your hand and wish all you guys good luck and all that. And then I like to tell you that I'm with you, win or tie.
Always telling me win or tie. And by the way, I love it.
And you care about teaching that Spartan culture. That's important. You are in the kid business. And you are teaching the athletes that they're going to take more than a one-loss record with them. You're teaching them to wear that jersey with pride. You're teaching them that they are representing more than just themselves. When they put that blue jersey on, they're representing every guy who ever put it on.
For years, can you give me a little history behind HOC and IOU?
You bet. When you go into the gym, you'll notice on the left side at the back, there's a whole litany of manners. When we first started off as a new school in the 40s and 50s, we won. That's unusual. New schools just don't win, and we did. And for, decade and a half, we were right up there winning championships. Yeah, and it was Southern California championships at that time. And it was sort of expected that you were going to give your best championship effort, and that's why you were the home of champions. Why we might not win, we were going to give a championship effort. And then later on, that in the 80s, late 80s, we started what we call HOC. We called it HAWK, home of champion. And the IOU, we used to put on the left shoulder of the jerseys, we would put a saying or some letters. And the IOU means I owe you, the guy next to me, the very best effort that I have. I owe you my best. And you know how some athletes do a lot of talking? They rah, 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 rah. We used to call ourselves the Bank of Sparta. Talking doesn't get you anywhere. You got to go and cash that check. And Friday nights when we opened the Bank of Sparta and we went to cash our checks. And that was important to us. Don't write a check with your mouth that you can't back up on the field.
You're getting me fired up, Coach. You are getting me fired up. What message do you have for current and future Spartan football players?
That's pretty easy for me to say. Number one, those of you that put that jersey on, wear that shirt, you are lucky. You are one of the luckiest people around because you are representing more than a football team. You are representing a school. That number that you wear, every guy who comes to a game, homecoming or whatever, they're looking at their number. They're looking at how you behave, how you are as a teammate, how you are as a player on the field. Are you a classy guy? Are you a competitor? And you better be a competitor when you put that shirt on.
Welcome a Chula Vista Spartans legend, George Ernest Organ. Coach, welcome to the Spartan Nation YouTube channel. How you doing, Coach?
Doing well, Coach Mannister. Appreciate the welcome. Thank you. Great honor. And that first football assembly, I just fell in love with Chula Vista. I mean,
nothing like those assemblies.
It had clackers. I mean, it was so loud, but it was the spirit of Chula Vista that we came through, and that just sold me right there. So that first athletic or football assembly was my Chula Vista indoctrination, and it put the blood in me for being at Chula Vista. Young guy, just finished playing 2 years ago, 2 years prior at San Diego State. So I was excited, and I thought I knew it all. I had a thick old book, probably 4 inches long and 4 inches deep, and it had every offensive play I think we could run and or I believed in, and every defense, which was more of my forte. I played both ways in high school. And so I brought it to Gary Chapman and said, hey, this is me. If you want to win here at Chula Vista, let's go through my book. So Mr. Chapman, and his wisdom, he goes, okay, let me see. He starts filing through the pages, and he rips this out. I go, well, hey, what are you doing? Well, I'm just checking. I think we don't do this play. Ripping things out of this book, and by the time he was done, we had like 3 pages. He said, you're in Chula Vista, you want to coach here, you want to win here, you got to simplify so our kids don't make mistakes. Let's just get them to play, focus in on playing and doing their job. You don't need all this other stuff if you want to coach here at Chula Vista High School. It was kind of like Chula kids, believe it or not. We weren't always the biggest guys, we weren't the fastest guys at San Diego State, but man, there were some tough nuts there.
So, what do you miss the most about coaching?
Well, I think it's the number one thing that you get out of coaching. It's those relationships you build with your players, your kids. And not only that, but the camaraderie you have with your coaches. You know, you spend so much time. People don't realize how much time, unless you're with the program, you don't realize how much time is spent with those kids. You're meeting on Saturdays and Sundays, sometimes half a day, sometimes full day, depending on who the opponent is, with your coaches, and you're coming up with a game plan. You're breaking down film. You're going over weaknesses and strengths of your opponents. You're looking at what you need to do, see how it fits. There's all kinds of things that you're doing in a short amount of time, and you're trying to make the best of the time you have. And it's those relationships, those thinking at the same way. And that's probably the biggest thing that I miss, getting to see a kid come through your program as a freshman or a sophomore, where they can barely put their pants on, put their helmets the right way, or what are these girdle pads?
Putting their hip pads on the front.
So, where do the knee pads go? It's watching those kids grow up through your program, and then as seniors, your hope is that when they become seniors, they're the leaders. They're the ones that take this program and make it what it is for the season, and hopefully it's a great season. They, every once in a while they'll tell me how grateful they were, but it's the opposite. To be honest with you, as honest I can be, I'm more grateful to them because they kept me going, and I'm just so appreciative of the kids at Chula Vista, because they're like I said about State, we weren't the biggest, fastest, strongest kids, but man, they were blue collar, tough, nut football players. I just love that kind of player. They know they're not the best, but hey, you put them on the football field, and our guy might be 5'6", and their guy is.
But you're gonna know you was in a fight.
You don't see it. Just in the lineup. You knock me down, I'm gonna get up. You, coach, and all the players, I want to wish you it's a short season, but I want to wish you the best. It looks like you're playing some schools in the South Bay as far as the league, and those are the best games to play. You're playing about guys that you can talk to, especially if they're all the schools that are in Chula Vista. Now you're playing for the city of Chula Vista. That's the big part.
Another Spartan legend, Coach Rex Johnson. Coach, welcome to the show. How important is the word respect in the game of football?
Well, I think it has a great deal. Well, really in all athletics, but football particularly. A lot of things, like in the situation with the kids at the high school, the team you're on, you got to have respect for the school, your teammates, for your opponents, the way that you act, the way that you behave. We always used to say at the beginning of the season, we would go through, and obviously you'd have a schedule, and we'd say, hey, we can beat everybody on our schedule, but we could lose to everybody on our schedule if you don't respect them or treat them seriously and have a respect for that. So
now the reason I brought this up, Coach, and I've saved this question for you, and I didn't tell you this beforehand, but you are, I've talked to Coach Otis Organ, I've talked to Coach Chapman, I've talked to Coach Ray Chow. You're one of the guys that when the word respect is brought up, it's always brought up in context with you. And that's a testament to the way that you ran your programs. I know my first year here, I had Herman Salas was coaching on the lower level, and Jimmy Clark Jr. is coaching for me now, and Lonnie Brookins. Those guys, it is funny because those guys are coaching, young men now, and the minute you walk on the field, they coaches over there. Like they're always like, they have so much respect for you, the way you handled yourself and the way you demanded that, this is how you are a Spartan, and this is the way you're supposed to carry yourself. And to see these guys years later still look at that and know that that's important. Again, what are your best memories of being a head coach at Chula Vista High School?
Well, obviously, I mean, there were a lot of game situations, but I think probably the best, and I know that the biggest thing that I missed is the camaraderie with the players, with the coaches. I missed the competitiveness on Friday night. There was just always that getting ready to play, and somebody else is challenging you with, hey, this is their team, this is what they've got, this is what they're doing, what can we do? And I missed that aspect of it too. And I thought it was memorable. I really enjoyed that aspect of it too. Just being yourself, don't try to be me, don't try to be honest, and don't try to be Vince Lombardi, all that. You just got to be yourself. Hey, you got to give 100%. You got to be accountable. You got to have some responsibility. You got to be dependable. Okay. But that doesn't mean you just do that the 2 hours of practice or the 2 hours Friday night at the game. And then the other 22 hours of the day, you're a jerk off. You can't just walk on the practice field and flip it on and then flip it off when the game's over. You got to do that in your whole life. So just kind of wish them the best of luck. And seniors, it's frustrating, but you just kind of have to make the best of it that you can and give it everything you can. Give it that 100%, and make it as enjoyable and memorable as your senior year as you can. So good luck to the football team.
And his last name is legendarily synonymous with Chula Vista High School and Spartan football. Coach Craig Wilson, welcome to the podcast, sir.
Thanks, Coach Mannister. It's an honor and pleasure to be here. Anything for Spartan football, always. I literally grew up around Spartan football. It's as far back as I can remember. I was the little guy that I would go up with my dad during two-a-days. In those days, they had the early morning two-a-days. And I'd set up the blocking bags and run and jump on the bags. And the thing about Spartan football is it's really, truly a family. And, my dad coached Jimmy Clark II, and then his son, Jimmy Clark III, JC3, played at Chula High when I was coaching. Now he's coaching for you,
GV head coach and co-OC on varsity and wide receiver.
Right.
Yeah.
I was there for the 77, 78, 79 football season. So my sophomore year, Coach McPheron's senior year, just as another example of.
Coach McPheron's on staff. There's another guy that's been around forever.
Yeah. Mike Molina's on your staff. Mike Molina played football with my son at Southwestern College. They had some great years out there. So, all of them were great coaches when I was playing. But George Onosorgan coached on the defensive side of the ball. And so he was coaching me directly. Yeah. And then he brought a real toughness to everyone around him, but the program in general. And, he taught me how to compete, how to be tough. It is real interesting because the years I was at Chula as a coach, everyone had their own little niche, Coach O, he made the kids tough. Like, it was not optional. You had to be tough.